Chapter 18. Cole. Cole bit the inside of his lip as he studied Cara. The news of the day was certainly taking a toll on her. Dark circles now sat prominently beneath her eyes, and she had run her hand through her short hair so much that it stuck up in crazy directions.
"What if we take a break and get some food? You look like you could use a short rest."
She arched an eyebrow at him. How can I think about taking a rest? I need David to wake up so I can question him. I need to find out who has been in the community pool. I need to find out if the CDC will show up and help us out. And I need to continue working to find a vaccine. How on earth can I even think about taking a break? Cole stepped forward and placed his hand on her arm.
"It's because of everything you just said that you need to take a break. If you don't, you will exhaust yourself, and you won't be able to do any of it. Then where will we be?"
Cara opened her mouth to protest, but then acceptance flickered in her eyes. She knew he was right. "Fine, we can grab some lunch, and then we need to get back to the hospital. I need to find out who David was working for. I don't suppose there was any name on those deposits you were able to find?"
Cole shook his head. "No, they came from an unknown source, but it's definitely someone with connections."
Jordan returned at that moment.
"I got the pool closed, and they do keep a log of most of the people who were there. Members have to scan a card to get in, and visitors have to sign a log. However, if there were any more kids like Robbie and Cecil who snuck in..."
He shrugged, letting his statement fade. They all knew what it would mean if there had been others.
"I'm going to get the log, and then I'll start checking on people and sending them to the hospital."
"Can we help?" Cara asked.
"I think it would be better if police officers showed up with these questions. I'll call in the rest of the team to help. You should continue doing what you do best. Research this stuff and find a cure. I'd love to say we lost no one."
Cara bit her lip and nodded. "Me too." As Jordan walked off, Cole touched her arm again.
"Come on, let's get some food, and then we can check on David again."
She let him lead her to the car, but he could tell her brain and energy were focused elsewhere. He couldn't blame her, though none of this was her fault. It was her research that had brought the disease here, which very well might claim the lives of people she knew. It was a heavy burden to bear.
"Fire Dreams again, or is there some other place I should try?"
Cole had enjoyed the food at Fire Dreams. He wouldn't mind going back, but he was always willing to try new places as well. Cara shrugged. It appeared the fight had gone out of her with the frustrations over what to do next. Cole sighed, but pointed the car in the direction of Fire Dreams. He didn't know the area well enough to drive around aimlessly, and he didn't trust the app on his phone to lead him to a good restaurant. The same hostess who had seated them a few days ago greeted them with a smile as they entered. It faded slightly as she took in Cara's dark cloud, and she sent a questioning gaze in Cole's direction. He shook his head. Not even knowing this woman's name, he certainly didn't feel comfortable sharing the current troubles. Thankfully, she took the hint and led them to a table near the back of the restaurant. After laying the menus down, she quietly excused herself, and Cole stared at Cara. He didn't know her well, but he'd worked with enough people in his career to know that he needed to get her out of her funk as soon as possible.
"What made you join the military?"
he asked as he opened the menu. She glanced up at him. "Really? That's what you want to talk about right now with a pandemic on our hands?" He folded his hands across the menu and fixed her with an intent gaze.
"Yes, it's what I want to talk about right now, because we need a moment that's not focused on the pandemic. Rest, remember?"
She held his gaze, and he could see her jaw muscles tensing as if she were about to argue with him. Instead, she rolled her eyes and sighed. "Fine. I joined the military because I was tired of getting picked on." Cole furrowed his brow. Cara was the epitome of an athletic, muscular woman. He doubted she had much fat on her, and he'd seen her muscles as she moved. When had she been picked on? "All through school, I was the chunky kid. My family wasn't overweight, so I was convinced I was adopted or had some medical condition that caused it. I was constantly picked on and had pretty poor self-esteem. When I went to college, it was originally to go into lab research. At least there, I thought I could blend in with the other nerds and finally fit in. Instead, I got saddled with a gung-ho ROTC roommate. She pestered me until I started running with her every morning and working out with her every evening. I started to see the weight come off, even though my diet was still poor. Then she began teaching me nutrition, and my whole life changed. I wanted to help people like she had helped me, and she told me about ROTC and how I could still do research, but do it while serving my country. Cara shrugged and opened her menu. It seemed like the best of both worlds, so I signed up. Once I got in, I actually loved the structure and the rigor. I pushed myself even harder, which is why David should never have gotten the jump on me at the house. Cole held up his hand to interrupt her.
Nope, no work talk right now. Rest, remember? How about your family? Are you still close with them?
Cara narrowed her eyes at him. Are you interrogating me now? I thought you decided I was innocent.
I have. Cole bit back a sigh. Cara was definitely a tough case.
Then what's with the third degree?
I just figured we haven't gotten to know each other well over the last few days because we've been so focused on work.
He often found himself wishing at night, before he lost his fight to sleep, that he had gotten to know Cara better. She was intriguing, but also a little like a cactus, sharp and prickly on the outside, but sweet inside.
Since we are taking a break from work, I thought we could take some time to learn about each other.
She stared at him, but finally sighed. No, I'm not really close with my family. We don't have much in common. The rest of my family never struggled with weight. In fact, my sister was homecoming and prom queen. I never really fit in. Cole's heart ached for her, and he wondered if her past was part of the reason for her walls. In fact, that's probably why the people here have become like family, which is why it's so important that none of them die. At that moment, a squad car raced by the window, sirens and lights blaring. Cole and Cara both turned to watch it. He wondered if she was thinking the same thing he was. Before he could ask her, though, another raced by the window, and then another. What in the world? Cole had only seen multiple cars at events a few times in his life, and none of them had been good. They're heading toward the hospital. Come on, we have to go. She bolted out of the booth before he could respond, and he sighed as his stomach growled. He had been hoping they would at least get a decent meal in before disaster struck again.